Hey everybody, it's Tanya Smith here with Get Noticed with Video Live. This is our weekly live stream show, and tonight's episode, we're going to be focusing on your wish list for the best streaming platform. So, in my creative mode, my creative zone for tonight, I decided let me just go ahead and try a different streaming platform than what I usually use so that we can kind of talk about that as we're comparing notes when you're looking for a streaming platform. Now, specifically, this is going to be good for you if you are someone who is looking into creating your own live stream show, especially if you're going to be doing Facebook Live, since I tend to talk a little bit more about that and do more training in that space. So if you're going to be doing your own Facebook live stream show, what is the best platform and what should you even be thinking about when it comes to the streaming platform? That's what we're going to talk about this evening. So let me just do a quick check around the room and say hello to a few folks. Awesome sauce. There's Michelle. It's good to see you, ma'am. Yes. Hey, hey, hey. And I'm also going to be, by the way, communicating to the folks in my VIP room in our community on Facebook, which is Get Noticed with Video VIPs. So if you're not a member of our VIP room and you want to be, feel free to join us in the Facebook group. Again, that's Get Noticed with Video VIPs. Hello there. I'm not sure who that is, but I'm saying hi. Now, I noticed that something is a little different in this platform than our other platform, which I'm going to talk a little bit about in just a few short seconds. But before I do that, let's go ahead and do our little quick intro. I'm testing out a few things while we're actually doing our live stream episode this evening. I want to give a quick shout out to those of you who are watching on Periscope via Twitter, and for those of you who are also watching on YouTube. But my primary community is over on Facebook. So let me say hello to my VIPs and welcome back. We're here every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. All right, so I'm going to do a quick intro video and then we'll be right back to talk a little bit about the top 3 things. These are the 3 things out of 10, actually, that I put on my own wish list when we're looking to discover what is the best streaming platform to do Facebook Live. So join me right back in just a second. All righty, folks, we're back, and let me say hello. I'm going to check and see who all is joining us. It's Tara. Yes, ma'am. All right, so here's what I've noticed is that inside of the platform we're using, which we're actually using Restream.io, I don't know where you actually give them permission to show your face and your name like we do with StreamYard. So typically for those of you who watch me every week, we go live on StreamYard. It is one of my favorite, if not the favorite platforms around. But I do every now and then like to do a quick check to see what kind of new features have been added to other platforms. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the comparisons, but I'm definitely going to share. You love my new intro. Thank you. We're going to talk a little bit about the things on the wish list. And so I always like to start with why this is important. But before I do that, let me remind you, make sure you subscribe. If you're not already following us, you should be. I'm here every week giving tips and tricks to help you to leverage live stream and on-camera video so that you can grow your business and grow your social influence. The audience that I typically tend to talk to and love the most are service providers like coaches, consultants, trainers. So you are my people. And that's who I gear all my tips and strategies towards. So be sure that if you're not a part of our community, you check us out over on Facebook, Get Noticed with Video VIPs. We do have a monthly challenge. And this month actually is the last challenge we're going to do. It's a 5-day challenge for the month of October. This is the last one we're doing for 2020. So you got to get in on that. Let me make sure that I put up on the screen where this is. It's the Let's Go Live Challenge. So go to letsgolivechallenge.com and be a part. We start next week, next Monday. I'll remind you before we end tonight. All right, so let's dive in because I want to talk a little bit about three of the things that are on my wish list. But let me explain to you why I even want to talk about this, because I have to kind of give you that context first, right? What's the reason for this topic? Well, the reason is, this is the big reason. I think a lot of people tend to not do on camera video or live streaming because they feel like it's too complex. And it's a feeling, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be that way. Live streaming, on camera video does not have to be difficult. And so many of you who have joined me for past Let's Go Live challenges have figured that out. You're like, oh my God, I didn't know it could be so simple. But the thing is we tend to complicate it by some of the choices we make. And one of the top choices that you're going to make as a new live streamer or someone who is new to using on-camera video is, which platform should I choose? Because there are a lot of different ones out there. And honestly, when I first started doing live streams, because I committed for a year to do them once or twice a week to see what would happen, and it just went like boom, everything just happened because I was committed and consistent. But when I first started, one of the very first decisions I had to make was, how am I going to do it? Am I going to just use the native Facebook app? Am I going to use my phone? What am I going to use? Is there a platform that I can buy into that's not going to rob me of all my money before I can even make any, right? So all of these were questions and choices that had to be made. And for you, if you're not yet sold on a particular streaming platform, you really need to sit down and make a checklist for yourself of the things that are most important and relevant to you and to your business, right? So one of the things I'm going to help folks to do in our upcoming Livestream Liberation Lab at the end of this month, in that class, we're going to talk about 10. I'm going to share with those students a checklist of 10 things to think about and to consider before you drop your dollars on a streaming platform. But tonight I'm going to share with you 3 of those things, and we're going to do a deep dive into each of the 3. Sound good? All right. I want to go ahead and do a quick acknowledgement. It is definitely harder to do that in here. Miss Jennifer, hey, beautiful. It's good to see you. It's harder to do that. So that's one thing I would say. I love StreamYard having the big lettering across the screen for my mature eyes. And for yours too. If you're watching, you can barely see the little teeny tiny letters. So I want to definitely kind of consider that. Again, one of the reasons why I'm using a different platform this evening is to do the comparison so that we can talk a little bit about that as I dive into the 3. Now, here's some pluses, some things that I really do kind of like about the Restream platform. I'm going to show you real quick as I share my screen what we can do with this, which is actually kind of neat. Let's turn that on. So I think this is pretty neat. I like the fact that Restream actually now, as of within the past week or so, they give you options for a whole plethora. Y'all know I love that word. A plethora of backgrounds, video graphics, all kinds of stuff that comes built into the Restream platform. This just happened because I've had it for a while and I've been a beta tester for a while, but I just noticed this past week that they've added a number of newer backgrounds as well as videos that you can use that come straight out of the box. So I like this particular background, but I'm going to show you a couple of other ones real quick. And then we'll dive into the first question that you see right there, which is one of the considerations when you're thinking about a streaming platform. Okay. So meanwhile, just enjoy a couple of these. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I do like the coloring, and that's going to be our number 2, which I'll talk about in a second. But I like that there's a lot of different options available to you, and you can still upload your own backgrounds as well in Restream. And this particular setting, I think, is designed for when you do have slides, okay? Because if I weren't using slides and I had a special guest that was on, we probably would want to get a close-up shot of each of our faces. So there is another setting that allows you to do that. And the other thing that I see that's available in here in Restream that is different is that it gives you the opportunity to be able to spotlight. So notice how I'm spotlighting myself, and then my slide, my screen share is at the bottom window, and we can also switch that up and we'll do another spotlight this way. So there are some options here that I don't necessarily notice in StreamYard. So that is kind of interesting to see. All right, let's try to maximize. I can do both of these. There we go. All right, so here we go. One of the things that I wanted to share with you, the three questions, okay? The first consideration, the first question you want to be asking yourself is, how easy is it for me to use this platform? And the reason why this is a key question, a key thing that should be on your checklist is, and Deborah, I'm going to answer your question in a second. That's a good question. But the reason why you really want to pay attention to the simplicity of it is this. What you don't need are reasons to not go live. You don't need any more reasons to not be on camera because you've already talked yourself out of it so many times, so frequently, and told yourself that you don't need to be on camera. So why on earth would you give yourself yet another roadblock? So one of the most important things when you're thinking about going live and choosing the best streaming platform for you is you want to understand how easy it's going to be to use. Now, I've shared a couple of thoughts before in regards to some of the other more complex platforms, but personally, I am a huge fan when it comes to using platforms like StreamYard. I think Restream would be a close second. I am not familiar enough with Ecamm to tell you what you can and can't do with Ecamm. So for those of you who have a Mac, that may be worth a trial for you as well. For me right now in this moment, my go-to is StreamYard. So if you're interested in doing a trial there, go to tanya.click/StreamYard and try it out for yourself. Restream, another good option, tanya.click/restreamio. The reason why I like the two of these is because when you talk about ease of use and you're looking for considerations for a platform that's going to give you ease of use is first of all what I already said, which is you don't need any more excuses to not go live because you've already talked yourself out of it 1,000 times. I know this because I've done the same thing. I used to do the same. So if you want to really go live, if you want to create your own series or show, which is going to be the focus of our program at the end of this month, the most important thing for you to do is to think about, how do I make this simple, right? So when I think of making things simple, that means I'm looking into ways that the dashboard, like when I'm behind the scenes, how does it look? Is it easy for me to maneuver different spaces? Is it easy for me to find and display comments? Is it easy for me to manipulate videos and add all kinds of, extras and make a real production out of it? Because if it's not easy, I'm probably not going to use it. So that was one of the downfalls, I think, when I started using vMix, which is a good program. It's a solid program if you really, really want to do high quality production with your videos. vMix is awesome. OBS, I used that for a very long time. There are other platforms out there that you could use, you could invest in, but they do cost a lot of money and they have a huge learning curve. So you're going to have to take considerable time to make sure that you really get to know the platforms before you use them. And nobody's got time for that. Why on earth would you choose something that is so complex when your goal as a service provider, because you're the ones I'm talking to, you and I are seeing eye to eye, our focus is that we want to coach more people. We want to train more people. We want to serve more people. So if we're trying to do that, I'm not really trying to spend the time and the effort to become a professional videographer. What I want to do is I want to engage with more people. I want to serve you through the conversation spaces that we create on camera. right? So I want you to kind of keep that in mind as you're thinking through the considerations for your own platform choice. How easy are you making it on yourself? Because the more difficult and more complex you make it, the less likely you're going to be to go live. It's that simple. Hey there, Miss Tanya. It's good to see you, lady. Let me answer a quick question that Deborah asked. Deborah asked, do you need a green screen with Restream? So I would say that if you're going to use a green screen, which I'm not using in this moment, this is my own background. If you're going to use a green screen, the most important thing is that you need to know you should be using OBS at this time. OBS, which is another software that you're going to install on your laptop or desktop, right? That is the only way at this time that I can tell that you can use green screen with Restream. Otherwise, you're just using it solely on your own. There's my friend, my buddy Nicole. Good to see you, lady, watching from YouTube. So yeah, I think that in this moment, and it's the thing that I've given them feedback on too, given Restream feedback on, is that in this moment right now, everything, all the features that I like and that are simple to use are still in StreamYard. The one thing that I see that they're missing in Restream at this moment is an easy way to use green screen. So it is definitely more technical for you to learn, but it doesn't mean necessarily that it's not doable. So if you can get a really good deal on Restream, I think it might be worth a try. Now, Christopher, who's in my VIPs group, it may be in the VIP room watching right now, I can't tell. But Christopher uses Restream.io and has been using it for some time successfully for his own video show. So that's the first question, is how easy is it to use? How easy? And so the question that was a follow-up, so can I just use one of their backgrounds without having a green screen in the StreamYard? So keeping in mind that the background that as I'm using right now, what you see with all the dots, the circles in the background, is a background that is designed to go behind two scenes. So you see a scene with me in it, Deborah, and then you see a scene with my screen share, my slides in it. So it's not quite the same. You still would need to make sure that your video scenery, however you set things up, is the way you want it to look, right? If you're not using the green screen feature. All right, let's move on to the next one. So here's the next thing. The first consideration is how easy, how simple is it for me to use this platform? The second question that we want to ask ourselves is this: how much can I brand my scene? So you all notice right now, right? You see all the different fun things that I've got going on in this scenery, right? Okay, and so everything that is showing up in this preview window. So for me, as I'm watching this camera and I'm looking at my dashboard, what I can see on my end is I can see a preview window inside of the platform. So I see a preview window here inside of Restream. And if you were in StreamYard, you see something similar, a preview window and a dashboard that has a bunch of little funky things going on, right? So inside of the back end, this admin area, this dashboard, I see comments scrolling through. I see the ability to be able to add little short video clips. I see opportunities to change up my webcam and my mic. I can also add graphics, okay? And so when I'm talking about branding, I think for me, this is one of my top 3 considerations, because one of the reasons why I use live streaming and why I encourage my clients to do this too is because it helps you to stand out, right? If you want your brand to stand out, if you want to be someone who is being seen as an expert in your field and you're building credibility and you're using video to do this, especially on camera video, there's a couple of things it's going to help you do. One, it's going to humanize your brand so that people get to know you as a real person. But 2, it's going to also help you to build and grow your brand so you become recognizable. And by becoming recognizable, especially for those of you who are in the branding space, I know I have a lot of folks who are in the branding strategy space. You get this, okay? And for those of you who are not, let me kind of just give you a real high level. The more people can recognize your brand as they see it, the more they are willing to trust you and to give you a chance. They're going to hear more of what you have to say. They may find themselves more engaged in conversations with you and more interested in investing in what you have to offer. One of the things that is the biggest compliment for me every time I hear this, I'm like, yes, is, hey, Tanya, every time I see your thumbnails, I know it's you. Whenever I'm scrolling through and I see, this, or see this color, I know that it's you. I know it's your stuff. And that's where you want to get to. You want to get to a space where people are recognizing that it's, oh, that's such and such company, right? So I constantly use this raspberry pink that you're seeing here in my screen. And I've also recently switched over to a new logo, which you may or may not have noticed, but we're going to be using that throughout everything that we do. But the reason why I want branding to be possible is because I want the opportunity to make sure that people recognize my live stream videos just like they do any of my social media content that is spread across the internet. Okay? So if you're doing live streams or on-camera video, and let's say you're not using a streaming platform at all, or you're using a real basic platform such as native Facebook Live, you're not going to have all the options to add these things unless you use a third-party tool. You're going to have to use some other way, another means to be able to show the branded titles, comments, the nice graphics, the video snippets, all of those things. So when I'm looking for a streaming platform, remember the first consideration was how easy is it? The second one is how much can I brand my scene? So the scene that I'm setting up for you to view, everything that's in my preview window right now, you're seeing that, and you're seeing my raspberry pink. You're seeing my slides, you're seeing my logo, you're seeing my title, right? I want all of that to come together and to give you the image, the perception that I'm looking for. Okay? So your brand is how other people perceive you, and you can either be intentional about that or you can let it happen accidentally, which really, if you're a marketer, if you're someone who is selling a service, product, or some other type of offer, you want to be in the business of making sure that you are intentional and on purpose about how you present yourself. So for me, that is number 2 in considerations when I'm looking for a platform. It's one of the reasons why I don't use native Facebook Live. It's one of the reasons why I searched high and low to find platforms like StreamYard and like Restream.io, which we're using tonight. So that's number 3. I'm going to double check and make sure we don't have any questions. If you do have questions, I'm here for you. And if I can't answer your question right away as we're doing this live, I will come back and check out the different comments on various platforms to make sure to respond to you. So please don't hesitate to reach out and ask if there's something that's on your mind, okay? Related to the topic, related to what we're talking about. All right, so the third and final thing that I will share with you as a consideration, this is another one that I think is really important, is what control do I have over the space? I have to explain this, and I'm going to explain it in terms that you will really understand, because when you think about creating a live stream show or a series, you want to have control over your space. By that, let me give you a real quick example. I'm going to just kind of blow my face up a little bit because I really want you to hear me on this. Before I started using the right and the best platforms for me, what I was using was a combination and a hodgepodge of different things that people had said, hey, go try this, go try that. So OBS was one of the things that I was using, and I was using a few other tools with that. And what was happening is the comments, I wanted people to see comments similar to what you're seeing when I blow those up here, right? I wanted to display comments and engage with people that were in my audience via the live stream. Instead of being able to control that, what I had done is I had created this flowing feed that was just showing every comment that was popping up on screen, on camera. And so what was happening is, just like, and many of you have been experiencing this past year, but these Zoom bombers that show up and their only goal is really to throw you off track. I was getting a bunch of trolls and live stream bombers that were showing up in my comments feed, and they were sharing really crazy stuff. One guy made a real crazy comment about a cactus that I still to this day am like, why? Right? But this shows up and I had no control over this. So I'm scampering trying to figure out, well, how do I get rid of this comment, right? Now I understand the value in having a platform that allows me to have control. Now, the other day, it's funny because I was watching someone in a StreamYard discussion, I think it was. They were asking questions about, well, why can't we just, have comments show up automatically? And I just immediately went back to that. Oh my God, no, no, I don't want to see another cactus guy comment, right? The reason why you want to have that independence and that freedom to control your space is because whatever's going to show up in that preview window is what everybody else sees, right? And so I want the ability, and you want to think about whether or not this matters to you, but I want the ability to be able to show and display the comments that I want to show. There's something that I don't want popping up, or I want to easily be able to remove it later, then I want a platform that will give me ease in being able to do that. Okay? So you've got to think about those three things, all three of these things. And this is just 3 of 10. I've got a checklist of 10 critical things that I look at when I'm trying to decide on a streaming platform. I've also got checklists on other things that I'm looking for when it comes to equipment. So all of that we'll have in our Livestream Liberation Lab at the end of the month. We'll have registration open next week for that. But the most important thing is that even if you don't have my checklist, you take the time to think about, what is it I want to do with live streaming? Why do I even want to go live? What do I want my audience to get from me doing video and going live in the first place? Because all of that is going to matter ultimately when it comes time for you to make decisions about where you're going to invest your money and your time, specific to the platform where you're going to stream. And it does matter because you also want quality. There are other things, right, that you're going to want. So what I encourage you to do, certainly you can take my list of 3 things and you can apply that. And if you join us in the Livestream Liberation Lab later this month, you'll have my full list and we can talk through it during the course. But if you're on your own, even if you're not part of any of that, on your own, you can sit down and make a checklist. Just write out 10 spaces and think about all the things that are important to you. These are the things that are on my wish list. This is what I want to make sure I have in order for me to put money and invest time into a platform. Because a lot of you, what we tend to do is we pay the annual subscription and then we're like, I don't even want to use that anymore. So I want you to think about it before you drop the cash on the platform. I tend to do monthly subscriptions for that reason, because if there is a reason for me to change midstream in the middle of a year, for instance, if I change my mind on a tool or platform, I don't want to be penalized for that. So I usually will do monthly subscriptions unless I have a reason or I am completely sold that this spot that I've chosen is where I'm going to be. This equipment that I've chosen is what I'm going to use. This app that I've chosen is what I'm going to use for a year at least, right? So think about that too. On your checklist, do you have to have an annual subscription that's lower? Is it important to you to make sure that you have the ability to invite guests? How does the platform survive in your current internet streaming situation? So your environment at home, is it glitchy, or is it giving you like the little issues when it comes to audio? All of these things are things that you can think about, but I encourage you to sit down and think about them. Think about them. Okay, so let me recap my three, and I'm just going to do it real quickly here. So the first one is, and let's move some of this stuff out of the way so you can see them. The first tip that we gave this evening is, how easy is it to get started? How simple is it? The second one is, can I brand my scene? How much control do I have over branding my scene? And we're talking about the colors, the graphics. Like, can I make this look like my stuff? And then the third and last one that we talked about is, how much control do I have over the space? And the space includes comments, but it also includes things like your guest, right? The ability to be able to invite people in, the number of folks that are able to show up on your screen. All of those things may be important to you depending on your reason and your purpose for doing the live stream show or series in the first place. So have you thought about that? What's right for you? All right, folks, I'm checking to see if we have any questions or comments. And if you have enjoyed this evening's presentation, I hope that you will take the time to follow and subscribe and hang out with us every Tuesday, because I'm here every week. So if you got a little bit out of this, definitely join us. If you would like to join us for the next 5-day challenge, we have so much fun there. Let's go livechallenge.com. Our very next one is starting Monday, October 19th. So that's next week. So I hope that I will get a chance to spend some time with you there. Meanwhile, tonight we actually used Restream.io. We typically use StreamYard. A couple of the differences I've mentioned to you, one of them was that we actually, in StreamYard, don't yet have a whole library full of different backgrounds, countdown timers, all that other stuff is not there. But I do see that that has become available. It's been made available inside of the Restream app. So even if you're not a graphic designer, even if you haven't invested in someone to create some that are branded for you, there are some options that are here inside of the Restream app that are really fancy that I think you might enjoy playing around with. StreamYard, on the other hand, is definitely reliable. It's very simple to use. I find myself a little bit clumsy when it comes to moving things around inside the Restream space, whereas I'm very comfortable and it was easy to get to know the StreamYard background. So a couple of differences there that I'm definitely noticing. But meanwhile, if you have questions and you want to know anything about either of those two platforms that I can help you with, put your question in the comments, leave it for me. If you're watching the replay, put #replay, and I will be looking forward to you connecting with us in next week's Let's Go Live challenge. By the way, those of you who do participate in the challenge this month, this is the very last one for 2020, and you also have an opportunity to get a promo code, so a discount code, to join Livestream Liberation that's taking place the very next week. So I hope that you'll participate in both. Our whole entire goal is to make you more confident and more comfortable on camera so that you can start using video to really leverage, to create and grow your brand, one, but two, also to leverage conversational spaces online to create that trust and that credibility with the people that you most want to work with. That's what I've been able to do with video, and that's what I want to help you do too. Alrighty, folks, I'm double checking one last time. No questions at this time, but I appreciate you watching, and I hope that we get a chance to connect real soon. Take good care of yourself, stay safe, and do not forget to vote. Today was early voting in Texas, so I've gotten that done. It is very important and critical that you take advantage of your rights, the privilege to vote. So get that done. All right, we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.